Reporting live from Hyper Clubhouse in Atlanta for Comedy Hype News, I'm John Abba. It's not often we get a chance to hear from Raven-Symone on other platforms. On Wednesday, the former child star would begin trending on X after she would appear as a guest on The Jason Lee Show. Now, during their conversation, her former co-star Orlando Brown's name was brought up, and Raven would finally reveal why she's remained silent and not defended herself after Brown's controversial statements about her in interviews.
I have to be really careful about what I say about Orlando because I'm going to keep it 100. This is a safe space. Orlando is very smart. He can come off the dome like that. He's been doing that since I've known him, and I've known him for a very long time. I knew him before drugs, after drugs, during God, not during God. He was a comedic genius, and he's still making people laugh. Orlando was on the same trajectory. I have to give him his props as a comedian.
Well, Orlando Brown has officially responded to his former co-star's comments on The Jason Lee Show, and it appears as though Brown will soon be a guest on her podcast, Tea Time with Raven and Miranda. Shortly after Raven's comments began to circulate around the internet, Brown would take to his social media to post a portion of her response on his own Instagram page. He would ask his followers, "Was Ray message good or bad about me?" Brown would then put a poll to have the people decide, where 90% of those who voted said yes, while 10% would say the message was bad. Several social media users would also comment on Brown's post, stating that Raven handled the topic respectfully and with tough love. Along with that post, he will also post a message coming from Raven's podcast Instagram account, where the show's producer of the podcast would extend an invite for Brown to be a guest on the show. On Instagram, Brown would share the message that read, "Hi Orlando, my name is Laura and I am the producer of Tea Time with Raven and Miranda. We wanted to reach out to see if you had any interest in coming on the podcast. Let me know." Along with that post, Brown's caption would read, "Hey now, what can you say now? About to put it down. Yeah, come on and ride with Ray now. And the future looks great now and everything's gonna change. Now let's rock." Now, Raven wouldn't specifically mention the allegations and viral rants Brown has mentioned about his former co-star in her interview with Jason Lee, because in the past, Brown has alleged a sexual relationship with Raven, and in 2018, he would debut a tattoo on her face on his neck. Both Raven and Brown would portray best friends on the Disney Channel sitcom That's So Raven, which aired between 2003 and 2007. A spinoff of the series would be rebooted several years later in 2017, where Raven and Annalise Van Der Poel, who played their third best friend, reprised the roles. Brown would not return for the rebooted series. So what do you guys think about Orlando Brown possibly appearing on his former co-star Raven-Symone's podcast, Tea Time with Raven and Miranda? Will you be tuned in? And how do you feel about how Raven finally addressed comments from Orlando? Let's talk about them on the comments below. Plus, stay up to date for the latest news and comedy by subscribing here to our YouTube channel and follow Comedy Hype and Hype Plus across all social media. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this story, you can always send us a super thanks by hitting the button below, and you can tip us what you want to continue to show your support. Reporting live from Hyper Clubhouse in Atlanta for Comedy Hype News, I'm John Abba.